The 7 Pillars of Financial Discipline. Build wealth with unbreakable habits. Introduction. Have you ever found yourself staring at your bank balance, wondering how it's always lower than it should be, despite your best intentions? Have you ever set a goal to save more, spend less, or start investing, only to find yourself back in the same cycle weeks later, frustrated and defeated? If so, you're not alone. In fact, you're in the company of millions who feel the weight of financial stress, the confusion of mixed advice, and the silent frustration of knowing they could do better, if only they had more discipline. This audiobook is for you, but it's not just another motivational boost or financial theory session. This is a guidebook, a companion, and a coach, designed to walk you through the 7 essential pillars of financial discipline that separate those who struggle from those who thrive. Produced by DJA-Audiobook, this isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about building something far more powerful. Control. Control over your habits. Control over your income. Control over your mindset. We're here to help you trade the constant stress of not knowing where your money went for the quiet confidence of knowing exactly where it's going. Throughout this journey, we'll start with your mindset, because before any habit can take root, you need the right mental foundation. Then we'll guide you through setting crystal clear financial goals, building daily disciplined habits, expanding your earning potential, and learning how to invest wisely and calmly, even when life throws you off course. You won't hear complex, jargon, or overwhelming advice here. Every idea is simple, actionable, and rooted in timeless wisdom blended with modern psychology. You'll also hear real examples, relatable stories, and metaphors to help everything click. So if you're ready to finally take control, not just of your money, but of the habits and mindset that shape your entire financial future, then stay with us. Because what you're about to build is more than wealth. It's a life of freedom, clarity, and unshakable discipline. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Unseen Architecture. Mindset as the Blueprint for Discipline. Let's imagine you're about to build your dream home. You've got the land, the vision, the resources, but no blueprint. You lay bricks, buy furniture, maybe even start painting the walls. But without a plan, without a solid structure underneath, everything you build is fragile. It may stand for a while, but one strong storm, and it collapses. That's exactly how most people try to build financial discipline. They jump into budgets, install saving apps, or binge-watch money advice videos. They try to force willpower onto habits. But beneath all of that, beneath every action you take with your money, is a mindset. An internal architecture that determines how you view money, how you react to stress, and how you make decisions when no one's watching. And here's the truth. If your mindset isn't aligned, no habit will hold. That's why discipline doesn't start with action. It starts with awareness. The myth of willpower. We've all heard the message, just be more disciplined, like it's a switch you can flip. But willpower is like a battery. It runs out, especially when you're tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. That's why relying on willpower alone often leads to short bursts of effort, followed by disappointment. The truth is, what we call discipline is often just a system powered by mindset. It's the mindset that says, I'm not saving because I'm being deprived. I'm saving because I value freedom. I'm not budgeting because I'm broke. I'm budgeting because I want control. I'm not avoiding that purchase out of fear. I'm building something bigger. When your mindset aligns with your values, actions become natural. And that's when true discipline begins to feel like clarity, not restriction. Identifying the limiting beliefs. Let's go deeper. Most of us are walking around with unseen beliefs that silently sabotage our ability to be financially disciplined. These beliefs often come from our upbringing, past failures, or even cultural messages like, I'm just not good with money. Money is stressful and complicated. I'll never have enough, so why bother trying? Sound familiar? These beliefs create invisible ceilings. They shape your reactions, your spending habits, and even your emotional response to money. And unless they're identified and reprogrammed, they'll keep you stuck in the same patterns no matter how many budgeting tips you try. Here's a simple exercise. Think of the last time you made a money decision you regretted. Now ask yourself, what belief was driving that decision? Was it fear? A sense of lack? The need for comfort? The belief that this little expense won't matter? You'll be surprised how often the issue isn't logic. It's the story you tell yourself. Mindset, money, and psychology. Modern psychology backs this up. Our behaviors around money are heavily influenced by what researchers call cognitive scripts. These are automatic mental programs formed from past experiences, often formed by age 7. For example, if your family constantly stressed about bills, you may have internalized that money is always a source of anxiety. If spending was used as a way to feel loved or successful, you may subconsciously equate purchases with self-worth. That's why financial change isn't just about budgeting tools. It's about rewriting those inner scripts. Simple shifts like, I am capable of learning how to manage money. Every small action I take is part of something bigger. Discipline isn't punishment, it's personal power. These shifts seem subtle, but over time, they form the new foundation on which healthy habits can grow. The role of self-awareness now. Here's where transformation really begins. Self-awareness. You can't change what you don't see. The first real act of financial discipline isn't saving money. It's paying attention. Start by noticing your patterns. When do you tend to spend emotionally? What triggers your impulsive purchases? How do you feel when you check your bank account? Ashamed, anxious, empowered? Don't judge. Just observe. This process is similar to mindfulness, where instead of reacting on autopilot, you pause, reflect, and choose intentionally. Even just pausing before a purchase and asking yourself, does this align with the life I want to build, is a powerful act of discipline. In fact, many people find it useful to keep a short money journal, not to track numbers, but to track emotions. When you notice where your stress points are, you gain back control. Discipline doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means staying conscious enough to keep learning. Intrinsic motivation. Discipline that lasts. One more thing most people miss. Discipline that lasts is tied to identity and values, not pressure or shame. Let me explain. Anyone can start a budget if they're pressured, but few stick with it unless they see it as part of who they are. So instead of saying, I'm trying to save money, say, I'm someone who prioritizes my future. That shift in identity changes how you show up, not because of rules, but because of who you see yourself becoming. When you link your financial discipline to your deepest values, like freedom, peace, family, legacy, every choice becomes meaningful. It's no longer about restriction, it's about alignment. This also gives you motivation that doesn't fade after a bad day. You're no longer forcing discipline, you're choosing it because it reflects who you are. The blueprint metaphor. Let's return to the metaphor. If your financial life is a house, your mindset is the blueprint. Without it, you may still build walls, but they'll lean, crumble, or collapse. With it, every brick you lay on every habit, every saving plan, every investment falls into place with purpose. That's why we start here. Before we talk about goals, habits, or money strategies, you need this solid foundation. You need to believe you're capable of change. You need to see discipline not as a chore but as a path. You need to know that you are not broken. You are simply building, and the way you think is the first tool in your hands. Up next, we move from internal blueprint to clear direction. How to define the exact financial life you want, your North Star, so every disciplined action has a destination. Let's keep building. Chapter 2. Visualizing your financial North Star. Setting powerful goals. If mindset is the blueprint of your financial house, then goals are the compass. They are your North Star, that bright, unwavering light in the distance that tells you which direction to walk, especially when the path gets dark or uncertain. Without a clear goal, even the most disciplined people lose momentum. You might save a little here, budget a bit there, but without a meaningful target, those actions feel empty, directionless. And when something feels meaningless, it eventually gets abandoned. This chapter is about changing that. It's about turning your vision for your financial life into something real, specific, and deeply personal. Something that motivates you, grounds you, and keeps your daily habits connected to a greater purpose. Let's begin. Why goals matter. More than you think, let's be honest. When we hear the word financial goal, most of us think of a number. I want to save $10,000. I want to earn 6 figures. I want to retire at 50. And there's nothing wrong with numbers. But numbers without meaning are just digits. You can stare at your bank app all day, but unless that number is connected to a feeling, a freedom, or a value, it won't inspire you. That's why the most powerful goals start with a question. What does financial freedom look like for me? Not in general. Not what society says. You. Is it waking up without panic over bills? Quitting a job you hate? Having enough to support your parents? Starting that business you keep dreaming about? Your answer doesn't have to be glamorous or dramatic. It just has to be true. Because once you define what financial freedom really means to you, you'll no longer be wandering. You'll have a destination, a reason. And that's what gives discipline its staying power. How to set your North Star. Goals. Now let's get practical. To turn your vision into a goal you can actually act on, you need clarity. A great framework is the classic SMART goal system. Specific. What exactly do you want? Measurable. How will you know you're progressing? Achievable. Is it realistic for your current situation? Relevant? Does it truly matter to you? Time-bound. When do you want to reach it? Let's take an example. Vague goal. I want to be debt-free. SMART goal. I want to pay off my $5,000 credit card debt within 12 months by paying $420 per month, starting this month. See the difference? The first is a hope. The second is a plan. Break big dreams into small wins. Sometimes, our goals feel so big, they scare us away from even trying. Saving for a house. Paying off $30,000 in student loans. Launching your own business. Here's the trick. Break it down. Imagine your goal as a staircase. The top step is your dream. But instead of leaping there, you take the first small step. Then another. Example. Goal. Save $20,000 for a home deposit in 2 years. Breakdown, that's $833 per month or $28 per day. Or weekly savings of $192. When you look at the whole mountain, it feels impossible. But when you just focus on the next step, it becomes doable. That's how big goals are achieved. Not by massive leaps, but tiny, consistent climbs. Tie your goals to your values. Here's a powerful truth. Goals that are connected to your values will always outlast goals connected to pressure. For example, I want to get out of debt. Feels like punishment. I want to get out of debt so I can be present with my kids and sleep at night. Feels like freedom. Always ask, why do I really want this? Go deeper than surface-level desires. Money is rarely the end goal. It's the vehicle for peace, impact, time, purpose, stability. When your goal is linked to something you truly care about, you won't give up when it gets hard. Because the goal isn't just a target, it's a reflection of who you're becoming. Create a vision map you can follow. Once you've set a SMART goal, bring it to life visually. This can be a physical vision board with images that represent your goal, a digital wallpaper with your financial freedom mantra, a simple list in your phone. Why I'm building financial discipline. Seeing your goal daily reminds your brain, this is what we're working toward. It may feel silly at first, but the brain is visual, and repetition builds reality. Even athletes and CEOs use vision boards. Why not you? Real-world examples that actually stick. Let's ground this in a few real stories. Fatima's. Debt-free freedom. Fatima was drowning in credit card debt, $9,200. She kept avoiding it until she asked herself, what's this debt costing me emotionally? Her answer? Sleep, peace, the ability to quit my second job, Her goal became more than just numbers. It was freedom from exhaustion. She created a 14-month payoff plan, automated payments, and tracked progress visually with a paper chart. Every time she crossed off a square, she felt momentum. 14 months later, zero balance. Jonas's quiet retirement. Dream Jonas didn't want luxury. He just wanted to retire early, live in a quiet town, and paint. He calculated he'd need $250,000. At first, it felt unreachable, but he reverse-engineered it. $500 a month invested in index funds, additional income stream from weekend photography gigs, planned to downsize his lifestyle slowly over time. Every financial decision became easier because it aligned with his why. Mental exercises for clarity. If you're still unsure what your financial North Star is, try these reflection prompts. What does a financially free day in my life look like? Describe it in detail. From the moment you wake up to when you go to sleep. Where are you? Who's around you? How do you feel? If money weren't an issue, what would I do more of? Travel, volunteer, create, be with family? What's one financial stress I want to never feel again? That's a powerful clue for what to work toward. Take your answers seriously. They reveal your true desires, not what society tells you to chase. Optional, write a money mission statement. This isn't a to-do list. It's a declaration. Here's an example. I'm building financial discipline so I can live with peace, provide for my family, and pursue creative freedom without fear. I value security, generosity, and time, and every choice I make with money reflects these values. Read it to yourself weekly, especially when you're tempted to give up or fall back into old habits. This mission isn't about pressure, it's about purpose. Gentle reminder, you don't need to impress anyone with your goals. They don't need to sound big, look flashy, or follow what's trending. They just need to be real. A real goal for a real person in a real life. Even a $1,000 emergency fund, if that means safety and sleep, is a powerful, worthy goal. What this chapter gives you, so now, you have a compass. You've learned why goals must be personal, not just numerical. How to use the SMART system to give them structure, how to break them down into manageable actions, how to emotionally attach to your why, and how to stay connected to your goal with visuals and mantras. This isn't just about writing down dreams. It's about turning dreams into navigation tools. And when you know where you're going, discipline becomes your most loyal travel companion. Next, we bring your compass to life. In Chapter 3, we'll lay the bricks, the daily, consistent habits that turn your goals into reality. Let's move forward with confidence. Chapter 3. Building the walls. Creating disciplined financial habits. If mindset is the blueprint and goals are the compass, then habits are the bricks, the actual material you lay down, day after day, to turn dreams into reality. Without habits, discipline is a wish. With habits, discipline becomes visible. It becomes your routine, your rhythm, your way of living. This chapter is about turning intention into repetition, about making financial discipline not just something you try, but something you live. Brick by brick, we're going to build habits that are simple, sustainable, and powerful. Let's begin. The power of small but consistent actions. There's a common myth that in order to make real progress, you need to make big, dramatic changes. But research from behavioral psychology to neuroscience tells us the opposite. Lasting change comes from small actions repeated consistently over time. James Clear, author of the best-selling book Atomic Habits, explains that habits are like compound interest, tiny improvements made every day that build into massive transformation. You don't need to overhaul your entire financial life overnight. You just need to do the right small thing again and again. Examples: checking your budget for 5 minutes each morning, moving $10 into savings every time you get paid, saying no to one unnecessary purchase per week over time. These tiny acts add up, not just in money, but in identity. Every time you follow through, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Someone disciplined, intentional, and free. The core financial habits of discipline. Let's look at the foundational habits that build lasting financial discipline. These are not complicated, but when done consistently, they change everything. 1. Tracking your spending. Awareness is always the first step to control. You cannot manage what you do not measure. This doesn't mean obsessing over every penny. It means knowing, simply and clearly, where your money is going. You can do this with a basic spreadsheet, a phone note, a free app that categorizes expenses. Even tracking for 1 week will open your eyes. You might realize you spend more than you thought on food delivery, streaming services, or spontaneous purchases. Tracking is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly you can see. And once you can see, you can start to choose differently. 2. Creating a simple, flexible budget. Budgeting gets a bad reputation. People think it's restrictive, but in truth, a budget is not a prison. It's a plan. It's how you tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. A good beginner framework is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for needs, housing, food, bills. 30% for wants, entertainment, extras. 20% for savings and debt repayment, but these percentages can shift. The key is to create a system that matches your real life and your real goals. Start small. Even writing down a weekly spending plan is powerful. The goal is not perfection, it's awareness and alignment. 3. Paying yourself first. This is one of the golden rules of personal finance, and one of the most ignored. Most people earn money, spend on everything they need and want, and then try to save what's left. But usually nothing is left. Disciplined people flip the order. As soon as money comes in, they set aside a portion, even a small amount, for savings or investment. Then they live on the rest. This habit is simple, but transformative. It says, "My future is a priority. I value security. I take care of me." Even setting aside 10% of your income automatically builds long-term freedom. 4. Automating your financial systems. Discipline should be supported by systems. That means removing friction. Setup. Automatic transfers to savings or investment accounts on payday. Automatic bill payments to avoid late fees and stress. Scheduled reminders to review your finances weekly. Automation is like scaffolding for your habits. It allows discipline to happen even when life gets busy or your motivation dips. 5. Saving for irregular expenses. Many people get thrown off track by expenses that aren't monthly, like car repairs, holidays, or annual insurance bills. To stay disciplined, create small sinking funds, mini savings accounts for known future costs. For example, save $10 per week for car maintenance, set aside $25 per month for holidays, build a cushion for unexpected medical costs. This habit prevents financial shocks from becoming financial crises. Making new habits. Stick. Now that you know what habits to build, how do you make them last? Here are 3 science-backed strategies. 1. Habit stacking. Link a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I brush my teeth at night, I'll check my budget app. After I get paid, I'll transfer money into savings. Your brain already remembers the old habit. By attaching the new one to it, you create an automatic chain. 2. Start small. Really small. If your goal is to budget weekly, start by opening the app once. If your goal is to save more, begin with $5. Small steps reduce resistance, and they build momentum. 3. Track progress and celebrate. Keep a habit tracker. Use a calendar. Tick off days when you followed through. Celebrating progress. Even small wins reinforces your identity. You feel proud, and pride feeds discipline. Remember, habits are not just tasks. They're statements about who you are. Overcoming resistance and self-sabotage. Let's be honest. Even with the best intentions, you'll face moments of resistance. You'll forget. You'll get discouraged. You'll think, what's the point? That's when you return to your why. Reconnect to the vision you created in the last chapter. Remind yourself, I'm building peace, not pressure. I'm creating freedom, not restriction. This is about who I want to become. And if you slip, forgive yourself quickly. Restart. No guilt, no drama, just forward motion. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Real-life applications. From concept to reality. Let's look at how someone actually applies these habits. Meet Layla. She's 32, working a steady job, but always feels behind financially. She earns enough to get by but never seems to save. She starts tracking her spending using a phone app. Within 2 weeks, she sees that she's spending over $200 a month on delivery and small impulse buys. She's shocked and motivated. She creates a simple budget using the 50-30-20 rule, but adjusts it to match her life. She sets a goal to save 10% of her income, automatically. She schedules weekly finance reviews every Sunday. Evening, just 15 minutes. She makes mistakes. She overspends some weeks, but she stays with it. 6 months later, Layla has saved over $1,200, more than she's ever saved in her life. She feels calmer, more in control. Not because she's perfect, but because she's consistent. Her walls are rising, one brick at a time. The emotional shift of habits. Something beautiful happens when discipline becomes habit. You stop fearing money. You stop wondering if you're doing enough. You move from reaction to rhythm. You wake up knowing that every small act and every transfer, every check-in, is building something bigger than a bank balance. It's building trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself, you show up differently in every part of life. You feel anchored. That's the power of disciplined habits. In closing, this chapter has given you the practical bricks. Track your spending. Build a flexible budget. Pay yourself first, automate systems. Prepare for non-monthly costs. It's also shown you how to make habits stick. Start small, stack habits. Track and celebrate. These are not just tactics, they're tools of identity. You're becoming someone who follows through, someone who respects their future self, someone who builds walls that last. And now that your financial house is taking shape, it's time to raise the roof by expanding your capacity to earn. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how disciplined, skill building, and intentional income growth can transform your freedom faster than you thought possible. Let's keep building. Chapter 4: Strengthening the Structure. Disciplined earning and skill enhancement. You've laid the foundation of mindset. You've set your goals. You've built your daily habits. But now it's time to strengthen your entire structure by expanding what fuels it. Your income. Because here's the truth that many people avoid. No matter how well you save, track, or budget, you can only manage what you earn. And at some point, to build the life you really want, you need to expand your capacity to bring in more, not through luck or shortcuts, but through disciplined personal growth. This chapter is about upgrading your earning power by upgrading yourself. It's about treating your time, skills, and attention like the powerful assets they are, and learning how to develop them intentionally with focus, grit, and clarity. Let's begin. Why earning more matters. There's a mindset trap in the personal finance world, the idea that you can save your way to freedom. And while saving is essential, it has a limit. You can only cut so many costs before you hit zero. But your earning potential? That has no ceiling. And here's what makes earning power truly exciting. It is within your control. It is a direct result of how you think, how you learn, and how you consistently apply discipline to develop valuable skills. Discipline in earning means choosing to learn instead of scrolling, building side income streams instead of waiting for raises, taking calculated risks instead of staying in safe but stagnant situations. It's not about chasing hustle culture or burning out. It's about seeing yourself as an asset and making that asset stronger every day. Identify high-value skills. The first step in disciplined earning is knowing what skills actually matter in today's world. Some of the most valuable skills right now include communication, especially writing and public speaking, digital marketing, data analysis, programming and web development, financial literacy, sales and persuasion, leadership and decision-making. But don't get overwhelmed by the list. You do not need to learn everything. You just need to ask one question. What skill, if I developed it consistently for the next 6 months, would have the biggest impact on my income? Maybe you already know the answer. Maybe you've always wanted to improve your design skills or finally learn how to manage clients or get certified in a trade. Start there. Choose one, then go all in, slowly, consistently, and with full intent. The discipline of learning is not a one-time event. It is a habit, just like saving or budgeting. Most people say they want to learn more, but few create the structure to actually do it. Here's a simple method to make learning part of your lifestyle. Step 1. Set a learning goal. For example, I want to improve my copywriting skills so I can freelance part-time by next summer. Step 2. Choose your resources. Free YouTube tutorials, online courses, books, podcasts. Choose no more than 2 at a time to avoid overwhelm. Step 3. Schedule learning time. Even 15 minutes a day matters. That's over 90 hours a year. More than enough to master a new skill at the beginner to intermediate level. Step 4. Apply immediately. Reading is helpful. Doing is powerful. As you learn, apply what you've learned in small ways. A practice blog, a sample portfolio, or helping a friend for free. Step 5. Track and adjust. Reflect monthly. Is the skill helping you grow? Are you still excited? Do you need to pivot? Learning becomes powerful when it becomes part of your identity. I'm someone who invests in myself. That belief changes everything. Turning skills into income. Learning is only the beginning. The next step is using what you know to generate income, either by improving your performance at work, starting a side hustle, or exploring entrepreneurial paths. Here are 3 disciplined approaches. 1. Increase your value at your current job. Ask yourself, can I solve more complex problems? Can I take initiative on a new project? Can I lead or mentor others? Adding value makes you more promotable, more irreplaceable, and often more compensated. If you've built a strong case, prepare to ask for a raise. Come with data, what you've contributed, how your role has grown, and what others in similar positions earn. Approach it calmly, professionally, and with preparation. That alone is an act of financial discipline. 2. Build a side income stream. This doesn't mean sacrificing all your free time. It means using some of it, perhaps 2 to 4 hours per week, to test your skills in the real world. You can offer freelance services online, start a simple digital product, monetize your knowledge through teaching or consulting. Even small amounts, $50 here, $100 there, can add up over time. More importantly, they give you confidence and options. 3. Explore long-term entrepreneurial paths. This may not be for everyone, but if you feel the calling, take it seriously. Starting something of your own, a product, a service, a brand, gives you full control over your time and potential, but do it slowly, smartly, and with discipline. Do not quit your job in a rush. Build on the side. Validate your idea. Reinforce your skills. Be the person who plays the long game, calmly, wisely, and relentlessly. Overcoming the fear of earning more. Believe it or not, many people carry hidden fear around earning more. Why? Because more income sometimes comes with more responsibility, visibility, or risk. Or they may carry subconscious beliefs like, I don't deserve more. I'm not smart enough to earn more. If I earn more, people will expect more from me. These beliefs quietly hold people back. But here's the truth. Financial freedom is not reserved for the special or the lucky. It is built by those who consistently invest in their value, and then learn how to offer that value to the world. You are allowed to earn more. You are capable of earning more, and with discipline you will. Real-world example: building earning power with intention. Let's look at someone who made a change through disciplined learning. Meet Andre. He worked in customer service for 10 years. He felt stuck, but he had always been interested in web design. Instead of complaining or quitting, he committed to learning for 6 months. He watched videos, took a basic course, and redesigned a few mock websites. He posted them online. He didn't get a flood of clients overnight, but slowly inquiries came. By the 8th month, he landed his first freelance project, $400, then another, then referrals. 18 months later, he was earning more from his side work than his full-time job. But most importantly, he felt empowered. He was no longer waiting for someone else to give him a raise. He gave himself one, through discipline, learning, and action. Your earning is a structure. You build just like your mindset, just like your habits. Your earning power is a structure, and you are the builder. You do not need to wait. You do not need permission. Start where you are, with what you know. Learn something small. Apply it. Make one move this month to stretch your income, even if it's just signing up for a free course, even if it's just offering your help to someone for free to build experience. The goal is not to become rich overnight. The goal is to become valuable over time, and to know your value deeply enough to use it with courage. In closing, discipline in earning is not just about money. It's about identity. It's about choice. It's about looking at your time and talent and saying, I will not waste this. This chapter gave you the blueprint for growing your income through skill building and strategic effort. Identify your most valuable skill. Learn it with consistency. Apply it with focus. Monetize it with integrity. When you do this, your financial structure becomes stronger, more resilient, and more expansive. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to secure everything you're building by learning the discipline of smart, long-term investing, even if you're starting small. Let's keep building. The structure is rising. Chapter 5: Securing the Investment. Disciplined wealth building through investing. By now, you've reshaped your mindset, clarified your goals, built financial habits, and even started expanding your income. The structure is solid. The framework is standing. But now comes the step where your financial discipline begins to multiply itself. The step where your money no longer just sits quietly in savings, but starts working for you in the background. This is the step called investing. For many people, investing sounds complex, risky, even intimidating. They imagine stock charts, rapid trades, or jargon they don't understand. But real investing, the kind that builds long-term wealth, is not flashy or complicated. It is disciplined. It is steady. And it is one of the most powerful tools you have to secure your future. In this chapter, we will break down how disciplined investing works, how to start small and smart, and how to avoid emotional mistakes that derail most beginners. You don't need to be rich to invest. You just need to begin. Why saving alone is not enough. Let's start with a hard truth. Saving alone will not make you wealthy. It's important, yes, crucial even. But it has limits. Consider this. Imagine saving $500 every month for 30 years. That's $180,000, which is admirable. But if you had invested that same amount in simple, steady funds earning an average of 7% annually, you could have well over $500,000. That's the power of compound growth. That's why investing is not optional if you want to build lasting wealth. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. But it must be approached with knowledge and, more importantly, with discipline. Understanding the basics. What is investing? Investing simply means putting your money into vehicles that grow over time. These could be stocks, pieces of ownership in companies, bonds, loans to governments or corporations, real estate, properties that can increase in value or generate income, mutual funds or index funds, bundles of many investments managed together. The goal of investing is not quick profit. The goal is to allow your money to grow passively, steadily, over years and decades, so that it supports you when you need it most, such as in retirement or during life transitions. The core principles of disciplined investing: you don't need to be an expert to invest well, but you do need to understand and follow a few timeless principles. 1. Consistency beats timing. Many beginners try to time the market, jumping in and out based on the news or their emotions. This is nearly impossible to do well, even for professionals. The disciplined investor does something different. They invest regularly, no matter what the market is doing. This is called dollar-cost averaging, putting in a fixed amount at regular intervals. This method smooths out market ups and downs and keeps your emotions out of the decision. 2. Start early, even if small time is the most powerful force in investing. Thanks to compound interest, even small amounts grow dramatically when given enough time. For example, investing $100 per month starting at age 25 could result in significantly more than starting at age 35, even if you double the amount later. Discipline means starting now, not when you feel ready. The sooner you begin, the more time your money has to grow. 3. Diversify to protect yourself. Diversification simply means not putting all your eggs in one basket. By spreading your money across different types of investments, and even within categories, you reduce your risk. If one investment drops, others may rise. The easiest way to diversify as a beginner is through index funds or exchange-traded funds, ETFs, which contain a broad mix of companies and sectors. 4. Think long-term markets rise and fall, always. Always will. Disciplined investors do not panic during downturns. They understand that investing is a marathon, not a sprint. They focus on decades, not days. When the market drops, they don't sell in fear. They stay the course or even invest more, because they know temporary volatility does not change long-term vision. Emotional traps that destroy wealth, even smart. People make poor investment choices when emotions take over. Let's identify the most common traps and how to avoid them. Fear. When markets drop, fear tells you to sell everything. Discipline reminds you, this is part of the process. Stay invested. Greed. When the market soars, greed whispers, you're missing out. Buy more, risk more. Discipline says, stick to your plan. Do not chase trends. Impatience. You invest for 6 months and don't see big returns. You feel discouraged. Discipline reminds you, wealth is built in decades, not in weeks. Comparison. You see others claiming massive gains on social media. You feel behind. Discipline says you're not them. Your plan is your own. Remember, the greatest investment returns often come not from choosing the perfect asset, but from avoiding emotional mistakes. How to start investing. A simple guide. If you're wondering how to begin, here is a step-by-step process. Step 1. Build a financial cushion. Before investing, ensure you have an emergency fund, at least 3 months of basic expenses. No high-interest credit card debt. This keeps you from needing to pull money out of investments in a crisis. Step 2. Choose a platform. Use a reputable investment platform or brokerage. Many now allow you to start with as little as $25. Step 3. Start with simple long-term funds. Consider index funds like those tracking the S&P 500 or global markets. These offer diversification, low fees, and steady growth over time. Step 4. Automate your contributions. Set up automatic monthly investments, even if small. This removes emotion and builds habit. Step 5. Review yearly, not daily. Do not check your investments every day. That only increases stress. Instead, review your portfolio once or twice a year to rebalance if needed. Real example. Investing with discipline and calm. Let's meet Clara. She was 30 years old when she started investing. At first, she was nervous. She only had $50 a month to spare. But she decided to start. She chose a broad index fund and set up an automatic transfer. She didn't watch the market. She just kept contributing. When the market dipped during a financial crisis, her friends panicked. Clara did not sell. She remembered her plan. 10 years later, she had invested over $6,000, and thanks to growth, it had nearly doubled. But more importantly, she had developed calm around money. She had learned to trust herself. That's the real wealth. The discipline of staying the course. Investing requires you to believe in what you cannot yet see. It's like planting a seed. You water it, protect it, wait. You don't dig it up every week to check. You trust the process. That's what disciplined investing is. Not reacting, not chasing, not stopping when things feel slow. Just steady action, clear goals, emotional control. Over time, your investment account will grow. But so will something deeper. Your confidence. Confidence that you have built something real, not because of luck, but because of discipline. In closing, this chapter taught you how to understand the purpose and power of investing. Follow the timeless principles of steady, diversified growth. Avoid emotional traps that derail most investors. Start small, smart, and early. Use automation to stay consistent. This is where your money gains momentum, where effort becomes expansion. Your financial house now has more than walls. It has a future-proof roof. In the next chapter, we prepare for life's inevitable challenges. Because storms will come, and disciplined resilience is what keeps your structure standing. Let's continue building. Chapter 6: Fortifying Against Storms. Disciplined Resilience in Financial Adversity. Every structure, no matter how solid, will face storms. No matter how carefully you budget, how intentionally you invest, or how disciplined your habits, life has a way of throwing the unexpected at you. Job loss, illness, economic downturns, global events you never saw coming. The question is not if these storms will come. The question is, how prepared are you when they do? This chapter is about resilience, financial, emotional, and mental. It is about building systems, habits, and beliefs that help you remain grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about never staying down. Why financial adversity is a certainty. The world is unpredictable. You might work hard, save consistently, and follow every rule, and still find yourself blindsided by a surprise medical bill, a layoff at your company, a global economic crisis, a family emergency, inflation that erodes your savings, a sudden dip in investments. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to prepare you. Because when you understand that storms are part of the journey, you stop being surprised by them. You stop reacting with panic. Instead, you respond with calm, with clarity, and with a plan. That is the essence of disciplined resilience. Building an emergency fund, your first line of defense. Think of an emergency fund as your financial umbrella. The thing that keeps you dry when the rain suddenly starts falling. An emergency fund is not optional. It is essential. At minimum, it should cover 3 months of your essential expenses: rent, food, utilities, transportation. Ideally, aim for 6 months, especially if you are self-employed or have dependents. Start small. Save $50 a week. Set aside a portion of each paycheck automatically. Use any unexpected income, like refunds or bonuses, to build it faster. Even if you cannot reach the full goal right away, having $1,000 or $2,000 in a separate account can mean the difference between a setback and a crisis. Your emergency fund is not for vacations. It is not for new gadgets. It is for peace of mind. And that peace is worth more than any luxury purchase. Practicing emotional control. During financial stress, when adversity strikes, your emotions will flare up: fear, frustration, shame, anxiety. And while these feelings are valid, they are not good decision makers. That is why discipline during adversity often looks like calm thinking under pressure. Here are a few grounded practices to help. 1. Pause before acting. When panic hits, do nothing, at least for a moment. Give yourself space to breathe, to feel, to observe. 2. Ask grounded questions. What is the exact situation I am facing? What is in my control? What actions can I take in the next 24 hours? 3. Speak gently to yourself. Avoid thoughts like, I always mess up, or I'll never recover. Instead say, this is hard, but I've faced hard things before, or I can rebuild one step at a time. Your self-talk becomes your anchor in the storm. Smart debt management in difficult times. One of the biggest stressors during financial hardship is debt, especially when income drops or disappears. 3. Disciplined response is neither avoidance nor panic. It is planning. Step 1. Assess the full picture. Make a clear list of all debts. Who you owe. How much you owe. Minimum payments. Interest rates. This may feel overwhelming, but clarity is the first step to control. Step 2. Prioritize, if you cannot. Pay everything. Focus on keeping a roof over your head, paying essential bills, making minimum payments to avoid penalties. Then, if possible, pay extra toward high-interest debt like credit cards. Step 3. Communicate. If you are in real hardship, contact your lenders. Many offer hardship programs, deferred payments, or temporary adjustments. Avoiding calls or emails only makes things worse. Facing the situation directly with honesty and proactivity is a sign of true financial maturity. Adapting your budget. During hard times in a crisis, your financial plan must adapt, quickly but wisely. Here is how. 1. Shift from growth to survival in normal times. Your budget may include saving, investing, or luxury categories. In tough times, focus on the essentials. 2. Track everything. During uncertainty, every dollar counts. Even if you never tracked spending before, start now. Awareness is power. 3. Find controlled cutbacks. Reduce without shame. Cancel subscriptions. Cook more meals at home. Delay big purchases. Discipline does not mean self-punishment. It means choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. 4. Reassess weekly. Your situation may change fast. Review your finances weekly to adjust as needed. Mindset shifts for long-term resilience. Resilience is not just about saving money, it is about how you think during difficulty. Here are 4 powerful mindset shifts that create inner stability. 1. I am allowed to start over. You are not a failure if you need to rebuild. Life is not linear. Many of the most successful people had financial resets and came back stronger. 2. This is a chapter, not the full story. Storms are temporary. Your discipline, your character, and your growth remain. Keep perspective. 3. I can learn from this. Every adversity carries a lesson about planning, preparation, or mindset. Ask, what is this teaching me? 4. I am not alone. Financial hardship can feel isolating, but millions have walked similar paths. Reach out, ask for help. Share your struggle with trusted people. You are not weak for needing support. You are wise for seeking it. Real example, weathering the storm with discipline. Let's meet Marcus. He was laid off during an economic downturn. He had no emergency fund, over $5,000 in credit card debt, and rent due in 2 weeks. Instead of spiraling, he paused. He listed his expenses. He called his landlord to negotiate a partial payment. He contacted his creditors and got temporary relief programs. He applied for unemployment benefits and took part-time work delivering groceries. But the most important thing he did? He built new habits during the storm. He tracked his spending daily. He canceled unnecessary bills. He stopped blaming himself and focused on what he could control. 6 months later, he had stabilized. 12 months later, he was in a new job, and for the first time ever building an emergency fund. Marcus was not lucky. He was disciplined, even in the dark. Preparing for the next storm. Once you've been through hardship, you begin to see resilience not as a one-time act, but as a way of living. Here are a few long-term strategies to stay ready. Keep your emergency fund funded. Even as your income grows, maintain financial awareness through regular check-ins. Live slightly below your means, creating natural margin. Keep learning about money, about yourself, about risk, and most importantly, keep building mental and emotional strength, because the storms may return, but so will your confidence, your tools, and your calm. In closing, this chapter taught you how to prepare for inevitable financial adversity, build and protect an emergency fund, respond to stress with emotional discipline, manage debt and budget through hard times, shift your mindset to one of learning, patience, and strength. Discipline in good times is powerful, but discipline in hard times is transformational. That is when your habits are tested, your character is revealed, and your resilience is forged. And when the storm passes, and it will, you will be left with something unshakable. Trust in yourself. In the final chapter, we bring it all together and explore what it truly means to live a rich, balanced life, grounded in lasting discipline. Let's complete the structure. Chapter 7, Living in the Completed Structure, Discipline for a Rich, Balanced Life. You've built the foundation. You've raised the walls. You've secured the roof. You've fortified the structure to weather any storm. Now, at last, you step inside, into a life you've built with your own hands, your own decisions, your own discipline. But here's the truth. Financial freedom is not the final destination. It is the door. The real destination is a rich, balanced life. A life where money no longer controls you, but instead supports you in living with clarity, freedom, and purpose. This chapter is about what comes after the struggle, after the sacrifice, after the grind. It is about how discipline becomes a way of life, not out of pressure but out of peace. Because the ultimate goal is not just to be rich in numbers, but to be rich in life. The true meaning of financial freedom, when people hear financial freedom, they often picture early retirement, luxury travel, or passive income. But real freedom looks much simpler and much deeper. It looks like waking up without anxiety about bills, being able to say yes to things that matter and no to things that don't, having time to rest, to create, to love, to live. Knowing that one unexpected expense won't destroy your stability. Choosing work that aligns with your purpose, not just your paycheck. You built this structure not to impress anyone, but to liberate yourself from the mental and emotional weight of financial chaos. Freedom is not a fantasy. It is the natural result of consistent, clear, value-driven choices. And now, you're living in that result. Maintaining discipline. Without fear. One of the traps people fall into after reaching a certain level of financial success is tight control. They've worked hard. They've sacrificed. And now they're afraid to lose it. They begin hoarding money, resisting change, obsessing over every expense. But discipline is not meant to become fear-based rigidity. It is meant to evolve into calm confidence, a quiet trust in your systems, your habits, and your mindset. Yes, stay aware. Yes, continue tracking. Yes, adjust when needed. But also, live. Spend on things that bring joy. Give generously. Say yes to experiences that align with your values. Discipline is not about restriction anymore. It is about intentional living. You are not here to survive forever. You are here to thrive. Balance. The other side of discipline. Let's talk about balance, the often forgotten side of success. A rich life is not only built on money. It is built on relationships, health, purpose, creativity, time, and joy. Discipline helps you manage money, but it also helps you protect your time, set boundaries, and prioritize what matters. Ask yourself, am I present with the people I love? Do I have time in my day for rest or reflection? Is my financial drive still aligned with my life values? Have I made space for health, physical, emotional, and mental? A lopsided life, even with money, feels hollow. But a balanced life, guided by meaningful discipline, feels whole. You did not build this structure just to look at it. You built it to live in it. So step fully into it. Let it support you. Let it breathe. Gratitude, reflection, and the discipline of enough. Sometimes the greatest discipline is not in doing more, but in knowing when to pause and when to appreciate. Gratitude is not weakness. It is strength. It is a way of anchoring yourself in the present moment and remembering that what you once dreamed of is now part of your reality. Take time, regularly, to reflect. What progress have I made? What habits am I proud of? What am I thankful for financially and personally? This does not mean you stop growing, but it means you stop chasing. There is a difference between growth and grasping. Discipline allows you to grow steadily, peacefully, with clarity, without needing to constantly prove your worth. And that is when life feels rich. Not because of how much you have, but because of how deeply you live. Giving back. The discipline of generosity. Once your structure is stable, it becomes more than a shelter. It becomes a place of service. True wealth is not just about what you keep. It is also about what you share. That could mean donating to causes that align with your values, supporting a family member who is struggling, teaching others what you've learned about money, volunteering your time or knowledge. Generosity is not the opposite of discipline. It is the evolution of it, because when you give with wisdom and intention, you multiply your impact, and you reinforce your belief that there is always enough. Generosity keeps you connected. It keeps your wealth flowing. And it reminds you that the richest people are not those who collect the most, but those who contribute the most. Long-term practices for sustained financial health. Even after achieving stability, the journey continues. Here are a few practices to help you stay grounded, focused, and growing, without burnout. Annual financial check-ins. Review your net worth, investments, goals, and habits once a year. Adjust as needed. Celebrate progress. Flexible budgeting. As life changes, a new job, new family, new priorities, your budget should evolve. Let it serve you, not restrict you. Periodic resets. Every few months, unplug from consumption. Take a no-spend week. Reflect on your relationship with money and discipline. Ongoing education. Read one new book on personal finance each year. Listen to one podcast regularly. Stay engaged with your growth. Mindful living. Create margin in your calendar. Prioritize health, rest, and relationships. Your wealth is only meaningful if you are well enough to enjoy it. Final reflection. From survival to significance. At the beginning of this book, you may have been in survival mode, tired of money stress, unsure where to start, overwhelmed by habits you could not keep. But look at you now. You have learned how to reshape your mindset, set goals that matter, build daily habits with discipline, grow your income through skills and intention, invest wisely and calmly, weather financial storms with resilience, live with purpose, balance, and generosity. This is not a fantasy. This is the result of aligned effort, of conscious action, of belief in a better way. And this is just the beginning, because now you are not just surviving. You are building. You are choosing. You are living. You are living inside the structure you once only dreamed of. And that structure is not made of bricks or budgets. It is made of discipline, awareness, and freedom. That is wealth. That is success. That is a life well lived. Closing note. This audiobook was created to support you, not just in managing money, but in reclaiming your power, your purpose, and your path. You are capable. You are not behind. And you are never too late to build a life of clarity, peace, and financial strength. From all of us at DJA-Audiobook, thank you for listening. Keep building. The structure is yours now.